as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, six-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Anika Stewart. A little about her. Anika Stewart is the founder and CEO of Embracing Your Inner Woman, author, certified Christian life coach, inspirational speaker, counselor in faith-based and co-occurring disorders, creator of Self-Identity, apparel and community activist. She is also the founder of the I'm Every Woman Conference. Anika is known for her bold, direct, and confident approach of propelling women to transform their lives. Women are inspired through her story of overcoming addiction, domestic violence, separation in marriage, and single parenting. Anika empowers a community of women to embrace their journey of transformation and live a purpose-driven lifestyle. She helps them to create strategies, solutions, and success so that they can activate their voice, hope, and opportunity in their life. Some of the signature talk shows are I Choose to Live, 7 strategies to propel forward, When You Want to Give Up, Give In, and While You Wait. At the 2017 Coaching with That pop-up conference, she was a featured speaker and shared the platform with master coach and trainer Charvette Mitchell. Anika also has had the pleasure of gracing the platform with award-winning international speaker Sherwood at the 2017 fourth annual Playtime is Over Women in Business Conference and a Woman's Narrative in 2018. Today, Anika is the author of her memoir, Diaries of an Elect Lady, and her self-help book titled Expose, Unveil, Discover. The Inner Woman Workbook and Guide. She has a support group known as Live Outreach Ministry for women to be liberated, improved, be vivacious, and enlightened through the transitions of all life challenges. She understands the emotions of being alone, hopeless, and unstable while on this journey, and strives to help others pull through as well. Out of appreciation for her exemplary attributes, she was honored with the prestigious Lady of Excellence in Leadership Award and Empowered Women of the Year for educational advancement. Anika is congenial and passionate about the lives she encounters. She's an example to women of all diversities. Welcome to the table, the amazing Anika Stewart.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
You are welcome. I'm excited to have you at the table tonight. I know you're going to share some amazing wisdom and knowledge with our guests. So would you please tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey?
So I often say that your story, your experience, and your knowledge is enough to get started in the marketplace, because that's literally how it progressed for me. I literally started in the marketplace with my first memoir, which was my first book, and it was called Diaries of an Elect Lady. And I just decided to share my story because I knew that there were women in the ministry at that time who can relate to my story. And I no longer wanted to live in silence, but I wanted my voice and my message to be heard. So I just decided to take a risk, and I decided to go for it. Scared and not sure what the outcome was going to be, but I trusted in the vision and the assignment that I was given, and I just went for it. And I published my first memoir, Diaries of an Elect Lady, and that was just sharing my story. And literally, things began to take off for me in my business. And at that time, I didn't even know I had a business. So being an author, I learned that I was in business. And I was in business because I had a product that could result in services. So that's how my entrepreneur journey began for me, simply taking a risk to share my story.
I love it. So, Anika, you are passionate about empowering women to embrace their journey of transformation. Tell us more about your passion.
Yeah, so like I stated in the beginning, this really all took place for me just for a leap of faith. And when I shared my story, and this was literally May of 2015, is when I decided to, share my story and my message and allow my voice to be heard. I was still going through my process and journey of healing and self discovery and development. And so I decided that I didn't want to do this alone. I didn't want to go along this path by myself because I knew I wasn't by myself. And so I decided to share my space right in my living room, in my home, and began to hold socials. So these socials were with other women in my community, in my church, and we just allowed ourselves to release and let go of our roles and the things that we have going on in just our daily routine and our daily lives. We decided to just come together, let all of that go, and strengthen each other. We would play games. We would have great just discussions and really just share with each other. And there was great energy and transformation that took place from the socials. And literally, like I said, it just began to grow. So I guess my first point, if I had a point, would just to be just go with your vision. Just go with the flow of your vision and allow it to make room for you, allow it to blossom for you, allow it to create success in your life by simply just going with the flow of your vision. Don't allow the fear or the distractions to deter you from saying yes.
I love that. Understanding and looking past fear, right? And knowing that take
Right.
those jumps, take those risks. So, Anika, what are some of the strategies you would give to listeners to activate their voice? What are some strategies you would give to those listeners?
Yes, so your voice is the most powerful being of our body. I believe your voice is very, very powerful, and it's up to us to utilize our voice. And so, one of the strategies that I often encourage anyone that I encounter when I find that they are struggling with utilizing their voice is to simply begin to celebrate and acknowledge who you are. And when I say that, I mean the very core of who you are. The things that you don't like about yourself, the things that you do like about yourself, and everything in between. When you really begin to acknowledge and embrace who you are from the inside out, it ignites something within your spirit, something within your soul to start speaking life. And so when you can begin to start speaking life over your own well-being and affirming who you are and what you've been called to do, your voice affirms it every time. So just begin to acknowledge everything about yourself. I can remember very vividly when I began my path of self-discovery and development. I remember like yesterday because I look myself in the mirror and tell myself that I was an addict. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, you know what, Anika, you made terrible choices that put not only yourself in harm's way, but your children. You were neglectful at times. And so I had to begin to look Anika in the face and embrace everything about her and not just the beautiful things about myself, but the things that I was ashamed of, the regrets I was dealing with that nobody knew about. I had to begin to speak to her, and I had to tell her that she is enough and that she can prosper and she can be successful if she just gives herself a try. So your voice is so powerful because it will affirm and ignite your spirit to rise up and blossom and flourish in the calling that you have been blessed with.
Yes, that is so, so, so important. And thank you for shining light on that, using our voice to open doors, using our voice to share our stories, which I want to ask you. My next question is, please share with our listeners advice on why sharing their stories are so important. How can sharing your story create different platforms for you? How can that help you?
Oh, such a great question. Such a great question. Because I'm a living testament of the power of your story. I'm a living testament of what the power of your story can do for you when you let go of the limitations and when you learn to be authentic and transparent in your experience. People can relate to you. So the very first tip that I would give with just wanting to share your story. Be authentic in who you are. Share the parts of your story that nobody knows. Share the parts of your story that nobody could imagine that you have experienced, but you came out on top and that you conquered that. So learning to be authentic in your story is valuable because you're able to stand in your truth. You're able to speak your truth. You're able to stand in your power that you have been given because oftentimes, we don't want to share all of our story, the not so good parts of our story because it may not be the response that we receive. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But when it comes to your story, you can't even worry about that. You can't worry about the response of the people because there's somebody who needs your story. Somebody needs your message. So be authentic and transparent in sharing the parts of you that nobody knows about, that they wouldn't even imagine that you conquered. Because people don't know that, by looking at me, you wouldn't know what I've experienced. But today, I'm a woman who was held at gunpoint by two masked gunmen. They literally kicked down my door because of my lifestyle of drug addiction, because of my lifestyle of selling drugs. And when I tell that story, people are like, oh my God, I had no idea. You wouldn't know because I've been transformed from the inside out. But I share the ugly parts of my story because I want to be relatable. I want it to stand out. And people can relate to truth. They can relate to transparency. They can relate to you when you're authentic in your message.
I love that. And you're right. Authenticity, telling your story, sharing your story, right? And you never know who you're going to motivate, whose life you're going to change by doing that, right? But they know that you're being
You never
authentic.
know.
Will create more opportunities, right? They want an authentic person. And that is so important. Can you talk more about authenticity and why that is so important, especially when you're trying to grow your speaker career?
Yes, exactly. And so, like, when I first just shared my story, I was talking about what I experienced as a woman in the church, as a first lady, married to a pastor. We were both young, and then having to um, deal with mental health with my son, and that was new to me. I had no idea what I was about to encounter and what I was going to face with my child. I mean, can you imagine your 8-year-old son jumping out of a moving vehicle and you run them over? I mean, because they're not in their right mind. And so those are just some of the things that I experienced, and I share my story. And so one of the things that I want the listeners to know today is that it doesn't matter what you have encountered. There is somebody that can relate to you, that needs to hear your message because they're looking for their way of escape. And because you have found a way of escape, you can be that blessing to them. You can be that hope to them. So your story yes, it happened to us. It happened to you, but it wasn't even about you. It's not for you. It's for your community. It's for the tribe of people who need your message, who need your story. And I can promise you one thing is that impact can go further than what we can imagine, what we can possibly think of. I mean, when I share my story, I'm impacting someone with my message, and that takes them throughout a lifetime. So don't devalue what you bring to the table. I just believe that we devalue what we bring to the table. We don't really acknowledge the value that we actually possess within our mouths, within our voice, within our story. So you being authentic, it will definitely open up doors of opportunity, not only for your community, but for your platform. My story has allowed me to travel internationally to share my story. So your authenticity will open up doors for you and your community and for your platform when you just simply just begin to embrace who you are, where you are, and what's to come. Everything can fall into place.
I love that. So you are the CEO and founder of Embracing Your Inner Woman. So please tell us more about your company and how we can support and donate.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
Okay. You are the CEO and founder of Embracing Your Inner Woman. So please tell us more about your amazing company and how we can support and donate.
Oh, yes. So, yes, I am the founder of an amazing organization by the name of Embracing Your Inner Woman. And what we do for Embracing Your Inner Woman is we provide practical tips and strategies for women to get unstuck and get laser focused. We provide services in multiple different ways. We have digital products, we have live events that we host, and virtual events that we host as well for our community and helping them to be successful and succeed with dominating the goal, because that's the bottom line. We want our community to excel and be successful with achieving their goals. And so one of the ways that we do that is by providing coaching and consulting services digitally, virtually, and live.
So make sure you reach out and book and support Anika with her amazing company. She is doing some amazing things with Embracing Your Inner Woman. So how can they get involved in a lot of different events and things within your company, get opportunity and things like that? So what do listeners need to do? Do they need to go to your website, reach out to you? How does that work?
Yes. So, like I said, some of the services that we provide as coaching, we have several different coaching programs, and so I understand that before anyone can embark upon being a expert in the marketplace, we got to begin to shift our mindset. And so, one of the things that we provide is a coaching program for simply. It's called the Rebirth Transformation Academy. And that's really just about rebirthing, resetting, because sometimes you just need to reset, you need to rebirth, you need to get things in order. And so we have programs to help you structure your mindset. I believe that we have the ability to structure our mindset. Our mindset is something that we have complete control over. And so when you can begin to shift your mindset and reshift your thinking, and it will counteract into your dialogue, meaning your speech and your behaviors. So everything will align together. So we have several different coaching programs dealing with mindset, dealing with business, and both. So those are just some of the things that we are able to do with our community and people who lean on us for guidance.
Amazing. So with everything that's going on now, you talk about the Rebirth Academy. So let's talk about, for our listeners that are listening, what should they be doing right now with everything that's going on as far as rebirthing? Because now it's like a prime opportunity to rebirth, right?
It is, because it's a time for you to, we have, honestly, for those of us who are home and we have to work from home, I believe it's now a time for you to be very intentional. And what I mean by that with being intentional is simply getting still and getting quiet. We live in a noisy world, is what I like to say. We live in a very noisy world. There's a lot of things going on all of the time. But when you are very intentional about getting still and getting quiet, you give yourself permission to, first of all, be at peace, right? Because I just know for myself that my mind can be going 1,000 miles per minute, and I want to calm down. I want to get still. I want to get quiet, but my mind is steady going. But what I've learned over the years is that when we have the ability to just get still and get quiet and shut our mind down, so we're able to really get clarity of the vision. So why not take this time as you are being intentional about getting still and getting quiet and having that time of serenity and peace to get clarity of your vision, to get clarity of what exactly do you want to do with your life. How do you see yourself in the next year? What do you see yourself doing? How do you see yourself serving? And when we can get very clear about what it is that we desire to do, it will be easier to pursue that purpose. It will be easier to align myself up with individuals who are on that same path. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, I agree. I love that. And thanks for shining light on that rebirthing opportunity for our listeners that are listening, because that's so important. You are the founder of I'm Every Woman Conference. So please tell us more about it's an annual conference, I'm sure. I know you have it every year, correct? So tell us more about the conference and how we can get involved and support this amazing conference.
Okay, so I'm Every Woman's Conference. It was an annual conference that we hosted for the last 3 years, and we've actually reshifted and rebranded some things within our company, and we now have our live event, which is called T.A.L.K Live, and it stands for Propel Launch Execute Live Event, and it's just a creative space for aspiring entrepreneurs who desire to be in the marketplace, or for those who are new to the marketplace. We provide a creative space for you to get hands-on training in the marketplace. From authors, bloggers, coaches, consultants, event planners. It doesn't matter what your profession or industry is. This is a space for you to get the knowledge and the resources that you need to propel, launch, and execute. I often say that it's just really about dominating vision, but you can't dominate the vision if you don't have clarity. So this is a creative space where we offer you tangible, hands-on resources and content that you can implement right there at the conference. So that's the one thing that's unique about what we deliver and what we bring to the table. I'm super excited. This is our first year hosting CLE, which will, unfortunately, due to the unforeseen circumstances and the crisis in our community, well, not our community, but in the world, we decided to cancel it this year, but we will PLE next year, May 14th and 15th of 2021. So look out for that. Save the date now, listeners.
Yes, save the date for the I'm Every Woman Conference. Anika is one of my amazing things. You definitely want to be there. She always have a great lineup, amazing speakers at her conference. So you definitely want to be there to get the wisdom and knowledge and the nuggets that will be shared. So what is some advice you would give to aspiring speakers who are aspiring to speak and aspiring to build their speaking career? And I know this is something that you specialize in with helping speakers and helping people create their voice and write stories. So what is some advice you would give to listeners that are wanting to become speakers and build their speaking business and be successful in this industry?
So the first thing that I would suggest to anyone who wants to be an up-and-coming speaker is to find out the audience that you're seeking to speak to, because you got to be clear about the audience that you're seeking out. You got to be clear about the solution that you provide. And so one of the mistakes that I made early on as a speaker, wanting to be a speaker, is I wanted to speak to everybody. And although you can speak to everybody, but your messages need to be tailored to a specific audience. So get clear and begin to brain dump. Give yourself grace to really figure out the audience, the community that you want to serve with speaking and how you're going to serve them. So that would be my number one tip for anyone who wants to be an aspiring speaker. Get clear about what you want to speak about and who you want to speak to. So you're not spinning your wheel. So you're not going in that cycle of just round and round and round, but get clarity and really seek out those answers.
I love that. I love it. That's so important. That is so important that you have clarity.
It is.
And that you are in the right environment, right? That you're in those right environments. And what is your view on speaker fees? for our people that are new to it and our people that have been seasoned to it. So what are your view on speaker? Let's just talk about as far as new people. You know, should they have a speaker fee?
Yes, they should have a speaker fee. I believe that people treat you the way that you allow them to. So that involves your community, your peers, you know, your network, anyone that you're involved with, any type of relations that you're involved with, even in the marketplace. People are going to treat you the way that you allow them to. So yes, be comfortable. Pick a fee. Don't allow yourself to overthink and overanalyze. Just pick a fee that you are comfortable with. Because you got to think about it from this aspect that I am providing value. When you change the way you think, you will change your life because you don't see things from a negative lens. You're very clear about what you do and why you do it and how you do it. So the speaker fee, pick a number. Because you got to ask yourself, am I providing value and am I providing information that is going to be transformative to the lives of these people that I am serving? If the answer is yes, pick a number, and it can evolve. It can increase as you get credibility, as you get experience, as your networking community expands. Because the speaker fee that I started out with, I do not have that same speaker fee now. Why? Because my credibility has increased, my community has increased, and I have traveled. I was honestly getting ready to prepare myself to go to London within a couple of weeks, but it's been postponed due to our crisis. So needless to say, you know, the more credible you begin to be as a speaker and the more experience that you are the more experience that you gain, then your speaker fee can increase. But stick with a number that you are comfortable with in the beginning, but you should have a number.
Absolutely. You should have a number. So listeners that are listening, you should have a speaker fee. So get something in your head. Like you said, people treat you how you allow them to treat you. That is so important. So I hope everybody wrote that down. Because that was an amazing day. So you have built multiple tables for yourself. So I asked all of my guests this question. How did you create your seat at the table?
Oh, yes. How did I create my seat at the table? To be very honest with you, I showed up. I showed up for Anika. And I often say this a lot for those of you that aren't new to me. You hear me say this all the time. Before anybody invited Anika to a stage or to a platform, I created my own. So what I'm finding to be true is that we're waiting on an invitation. We are waiting to be invited to the platform to speak and to serve, and we're waiting on the opportunity. But I'm a firm believer that we must create the opportunity. I have to be willing to be responsible for the lifestyle that I desire. So if I'm going to be responsible for the lifestyle that I desire, I'm going to create the platform that I desire. I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to speak on my behalf with clarity and confidence, and I'm going to let people in the room know that I belong here, and that becomes with confidence. So, you know, yes, I just started to show up and take risks, show up at different networking events. I showed up and hosted my own event. I just took a risk, and I was very bold in my approach, and it has worked for me. I believe that a closed mouth don't get fed. So if I want people to know who Anika was, I needed to show up and let them know who I was. And that's exactly what I did.
I love it. Showing up, right? Showing up.
Showing up.
Those who show up, in the words of Pam Perry, those who show up, go up.
Right.
Yes. Yes. So we all have a process, right? And we have to embrace the process. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
What did failure teach you on your journey?
What is failure to...
Yeah, what did failure teach you? What did failure teach you?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a hard time hearing you. Failure has taught me so many things. I believe that failure is a part of everybody's process in life. Failure is a teachable moment. It's a teachable experience for you. And so one of the things that I find to be true is that it's so easy to point the finger. It's so easy to do the blame game. It's so easy to do the pity party. And I am just a woman that I don't like to stay in those spaces long. I've always been that way, and I just believe that you got to have your moment, but don't stay there. So after you have that moment, right, of crying or releasing that emotion that has you bound, then you really need to be honest with yourself and say, what can I learn from this experience? What can I do better? Not them, not her, not him. Because again, we can point fingers. It's very easy to do that. But what can I do better? What can I have learned from this situation? How is it affecting me? How is it affecting my family? How is it affecting my children? So when we can learn to do a self-check daily, I mean daily, you have to do a self-check. And learning to embrace failure, because there's going to always be goals that don't get fulfilled when we expect them to get fulfilled. There's going to always be something. You got to learn to just embrace those moments. Have your moment, but do not stay there. Choose to live.
Choose to live. Do not stay there. I love it. So what did success teach you on your journey? Because you're very, very successful.
Thank you very much. Success teaches me to be humble. I believe that every day is a new day. And although I don't meet every goal, I still choose to celebrate the wins. No matter how all right. All people and begin to compare. We'll look at other people and begin to discredit and devalue what we bring to the table or what we have already accomplished. We'll just dismiss it because, I didn't travel internationally. I didn't go to Paris. Or I didn't go to London, so I'm not successful. I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And I'm here to tell you, anytime you have conquered any goal and you giving yourself a try to step out of faith and do everything that you thought you couldn't do. Forget about naysayers and haters. It's that inner critic that I believe that we battle with most. And so, yes, success has always taught me to be humble and to appreciate my wins. Everything that I've accomplished, everything that I've given a try to do, again, even if it didn't succeed or if it was a failure, I still chose to celebrate it. Say, you know what, girl, you did that. You still went for it.
Yes,
you may not have gotten right. You may not have got the 100 attendees at your first conference, but you got 30. That's a reason to celebrate. That's a reason to be happy. You won. You are successful because you did something that you didn't think you could do, and you got 30 people to show up and support you. We got to learn to give ourselves credit for the things that we take a risk and do that the odds are against us based on our own fears and insecurities.
Absolutely, and that's so important. To just keep pushing, right?
Yeah.
And to have that confidence and to know that, hey, embrace the process on the journey and stay humble, right? Staying humble.
Exactly.
So, what do we expect from you, Anika, in this new year of 2000? So we're in a new decade, a new year. What do we expect from you?
Oh, my goodness. What can we expect from Anika Stewart? I have so many great things in store for my community. You can expect we will be doing later on this year, we'll be doing our very first women's retreat. I'm super excited about this retreat. So you can look out for that. And we have another Women of Influence Anthology project that we are also going to be presenting to our community later this year. We're actually finishing up our first two items we have on board with us for the first go round. I'm super proud of these ladies for taking the risk and saying yes to share their story. So you can look out for the edition 2 for our Women of Influence Anthology project. We're only going to be taking 20 people. So listen, if you want to be a part of that, you just want to get a heads up on details and information, listen, connect with me at LadyAnikaStewart.com.
So make sure you follow, support, and connect with Anika. She is definitely somebody to connect with, somebody you need to know, to work with, and book for your next conference. She's just somebody that you need to know and connect with. So make sure you connect with her. And Anika, congratulations on all the great things that you're about to do in this new year. You already knocking it out, right? So I can't see all the things that you're about to do.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it is New Year 2020. So will you please tell our listeners how they can follow and support you on all social media platforms?
Yes, you can connect with me by going to LadyAnikaStewart.com, and you can stay connected with me and subscribe to our Shoes Lit email list. You can also connect with me on social media platforms on Facebook, Anika Stewart, Instagram, Anika Stewart, LinkedIn, Anika Stewart.
So make sure you follow and support her on all social media platforms. So thank you so much, Anika, for coming to the table, taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule, and sharing with us these amazing nuggets that I know our listeners were able to learn from and help throughout their speaking career, sharing their stories, writing their books. So thank you again, and I look forward to bringing you back to the table.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate you for being on your show and being in your community.
You are welcome, and I look forward to working with you in the new year.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, and my intern, Vontaria, from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.